It's ESPN College Football presented by Target. It's the Big 12 Conference on ESPN. Utah faces a must-win to keep its postseason and playoff hopes alive, while Kansas needs a win to become bowl eligible. And it's senior day for quarterback Jalon Daniels, who his head coach called a transformational player for the Kansas football program. A week ago, Utah's playoff hopes were hanging by a thin Moroccan silk thread, yet they rallied late, beat Kansas State in a game where Utah gave up 475 rushing yards. But they won, and they're ranked 13th in the latest college football playoff rankings. Again, it's a 12-team playoff. Anish Shroff, Andre Ware, we'll get to Paul Carcaterra. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday, start of the holiday season.
Yeah.
For Utah, they need to win. Forget all the help they need, and they need some help, but it starts with winning today to have a chance at the playoff.
Yeah, it goes nowhere if they don't take care of business against a Kansas team that's trying to get into a bowl conversation themselves with a 6th win on the year. But nobody wants to face Utah right now. Big, physical football team that you feel for weeks after having played them.
For Kansas, one win away from bowl eligibility. Their quarterback, Jalon Daniels, 6th-year senior, all 6 with Kansas. He's been instrumental in changing this program.
Yeah, he really has. He's a dynamic competitor who has helped revitalize this Kansas program. A dual-threat quarterback that can spin the football and make plays through the air. He can certainly hurt you with his legs as well. He's their all-time passing leader.
Kansas won the toss, elects to receive. Emmanuel Henderson, who is a deep threat and has a kick return touchdown this season, waits back deep for the Jayhawks.
Arguably the fastest player in the program. Young man can pick him up and he can put him down.
Henderson ran into his own man and gets bottled at the 21. We check in with Paul Carcaterra.
Well, Anish, Jalon Daniels is a unique talent. It's rare in college football you'll see a quarterback play for 6 years and take every snap with the same team. But JD's 6. When you talk to him, you have a sense of why he never left Lawrence. He's been through it all over the course of his 6 years. The 2020 COVID season, a coaching change, injury-plagued years, the NIL world, and Jalon told me he wanted to be part of a change, to leave an everlasting brick, to see it through with a coach in Lance Leipold, who is creating lifelong leaders.
On first down, he hands it off to Daniel Highshaw, who came to Kansas with Jalon Daniels in 2020.
Yeah, with Daniels, he is better this year because he's a full-time quarterback now. He's changing plays and protections at the line of scrimmage. You get all that by staying at one place and earning the trust of the coaching staff.
6th-year senior, 4-time captain, one of the most prolific passers in program history. Tight end Gruen in motion. Daniels with time, and now nothing open. He has to throw it away. Pressure by Jonah Leah. One big change for Utah defensively. John Henry Daly, one of the best pass rushers in America, suffered a season-ending injury last week. So the redshirt freshman, number 93, Cash Dillon, who they really like, gets the start in his stead.
Yeah, with John Henry Daly, he had 11.5 sacks. 17 tackles for a loss on the season. That is a lot of production to have to replace, but Dillon, they feel like, can step into those shoes and help out.
On third down, quick hitter. It's brought in, and that'll move the chains. Cam Pickett, the Ball State transfer, with his 41st catch.
Yeah, he is excellent with the ball in his hands. Just a simple slant route. Tried to go to it the play before. It was not there and forced Daniels to throw it away. That time, he was able to find Cam Pickett.
Kansas was 5-4 a few weeks ago. They've lost 2 straight. 3rd chance at bowl eligibility. finds a sliver. Slides across midfield for a first down. They mark him down where he began the slide at his own 49.
Yeah, this is inviting. I mean, there's nobody really in the middle of the field here. It's inviting for quarterback draw, which is exactly what Kansas was able to go to in that situation. And a nice job by Jaylen Daniels of finding the crease in the defense and picking up the first down.
This Utah defense gave up a school record 475 rushing yards against Kansas State last week. Little RPO, Pickett with room in the flat. Now some more room. Works his way inside the Utah 30. Jackson Benny, the strong safety, finally brought him down. A pickup of 25.
How about this Kansas offense, Denise? It's humming here early. A nice little mixture of quarterback run with some short passing game, and it's got Kansas right down the field, somewhere right around the 25, 26-yard line of Utah.
Shaw in the backfield with Daniels. JD 6. Kansas has had the same 5 starters on the O-line in every game. Pickett gets detonated by Smith Snowden, the corner. Not much on the play, second down.
Yeah, he gets hit hard because Bowden Gruen missed a block. The tight end's got to go flatter where he can get to Snowden. Once that block is taken care of, I think they may have a chance to bust the tunnel screen out of there, but that missed block by Gruen kind of blew everything up.
Jim Zabrowski, offensive coordinator for Kansas. Daniels with pressure coming and throws incomplete in the direction of Henderson. Logan Fano getting to Jaylen Daniels and made him get rid of that ball.
Yeah, and why do you get so excited? Because he didn't take a sack. You know, that's experience kind of shining through for Jayden Daniels. A lot of younger quarterbacks hold on to the ball. They end up getting sacked. Tougher field goal attempt. And Utah has only allowed a total of 27 points in the first quarter all season long. Here it is, Kansas threatening here on their first drive.
Pressure coming, that's intercepted. Picked off by Snowden. And he gets turf monstered, which prevented a bigger return. And Utah with the takeaway on offense.
Well, you just praised Jaylen Daniels for throwing the ball away in 2 situations so that he doesn't put it in harm's way. This one, he forces, and Smith Snowden is right there to rob him of the football and set up Utah with some pretty good field position. Here in motion, they're going to run 2 little hook routes on the outside, and the read is inside out, 1 to 2. He gets stuck on Pickett, who made a play for him for a first down on a slant route. That ball's thrown outside. Maybe it's a completion. He throws it inside, and Snowden's off to the races with it.
Meanwhile, Utah starts in the Wildcat. Wayshawn Parker heard the highway call, picks up 34, and you got a sense of what makes this Utah rushing attack one of the best in the country.
Yeah, they pull the big guy around, Mokafisi, and for the right guard, he kicks out, and then it's off to the races for Parker, who has had a bunch of 100-yard games, 4 straight 100-yard games.
Parker down this sideline, rips off another big run. Give him about 14 on the play. 2 runs by Parker, and all of a sudden, Utah 2 plays in the red zone. It's a Utah offense that is second nationally in rushing, behind only Navy. They come at you in a number of different ways, and they have arguably the best offensive line in the country. Speed option, Parker again. Takes it all the way to the 9, 8 yards for Parker. About 57 rushing yards on 3 carries for Wayshawn Parker.
And they're in their Rhino package where Keith Olsen is a 6th offensive lineman that has checked himself in the game. He's kind of moving around the huddle from the left side. Now he's outside the right tackle.
Utah in the red zone this season has been amongst the best teams in the country. They've scored on 46 out of 50 trips, 41 touchdowns. Parker is met by Tommy Dunn right at the line of scrimmage. It's going to bring up 3rd down, could be 4-down territory here. Utah, that offensive line, Andre, the left tackle Lomu, the right tackle Fano, both projected 1st-round picks.
Togiai, Kump, and Okafisi kind of rounded out, but this is the best, in my opinion, the best offensive line in the country. They have played side by side for 2 consecutive years, which is unheard of in this day and age of college football.
Dampier wasn't ready for the snap. He's got to cover it up, and it's 4th down. So that's the quarterback, Devin Dampier, the New Mexico transfer.
He has battled some injuries this year, but he has been super for this team. And just kind of looking to his left, all of a sudden Jaron Kump snaps it, and he's not ready for it. They've got to take a field goal attempt here from about 34 yards or so.
Dylan Curtis, the true freshman, has made his last 7 kicks. Make it 8 in a row. Make it 3-0 Utah. A promising drive with Wayshawn Parker leading the way, but it stalls in the red zone. They settle for 3.
Days, and in part by Popeyes. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Happy Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving from our incredible crew. How about Colleen?
I missed the picture by getting in a little late.
You got in a little late, but you
Liz
were there.
and Colleen, and they put together one heck of a deal.
Nice little catered meal, so we're away from our families, but we are with our work families. And
Tina, can't miss Tina. Tina facilitated that thing, and she was just, they're all spectacular with it. The food was awesome. Got in late, but they kept things open for me and got a nice.
They kept some dessert for you.
Yes, indeed. Nice plate of food.
We hope you guys are munching on Thanksgiving leftovers. 3-0 Utah. And we say happy Thanksgiving to Kevin Connors in the studio. Yeah, the Egg Bowl feels a lot like the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yeah.
Just get to the end and get to the Mayo dump, get to the Lane Kiffin news.
Yep.
Quarterback keeper. That's a pickup of 13 yards.
Isaiah Marshall comes in. He was the Michigan Player of the Year out of high school, redshirt last year out of Southfield, Michigan. Southfield A&T High School.
He is their 3rd string quarterback. Designed rush, gets the job done.
But a playmaker.
Daniels off the zone read. Cannot get the edge. The tackle made in space by Jonathan Hall.
Moved from safety to linebacker last year to add some speed to this Utah defense. He's fast, he's physical, and he just seems to make plays everywhere.
Morgan Scully, the defensive coordinator for Utah, told us he took a lot of the responsibility after the letdown defensively against Kansas State. He just said some of the run fits weren't there, the angles weren't there, and he said we've got to do a better job putting our guys in the right spot.
What, Jonathan Hall from an excellent high school football program. Katy High School.
Keep it on the ground. And that's LeSean Williams, who 2 years ago led Iowa in rushing. And it sets up a 3rd down and long. And here's where you miss a John Henry Daly if you're Utah.
Yeah, you do. A guy that can really control kind of the line of scrimmage. You get an excellent pass rusher with, as I mentioned, 11 sacks that they lose with him, that type of production. And Morgan Scalley, their defensive coordinator there, had a nice visit with him the other day. Energetic coach who just knows how to coach him up.
Keep it on the ground again here on 3rd down. And the call works. A pickup of 8 by Highshaw for a 1st down. Now that play call almost made you think they may have been thinking 4 downs in that territory.
Yeah, they were going to definitely go for it. You get close to midfield, and they're trying to get to bowl eligibility at 5-6 on the year to have that 13th game, like Coach Leipold told us. They are they're going to utilize every down, every snap today.
Pickett goes in motion. Williams gashing through that Utah defense for 9. If Kansas wins 3 bowl games in 4 years for Kansas, that would be just the 2nd time in program history.
Yeah, that's huge. And just kind of holding on to it, forcing a defensive player, Cash Dillon, to make a decision. When he decides to just look at the quarterback, they give it to Williams underneath for another big gain on 1st down.
Kansas with an extra offensive lineman in there.
Yeah, Nolan Gorsica is in.
Sean Williams again rumbles inside the 30. Another 1st down, a gain of 13.
Gorsica throws a nice block and opens some things up for Williams. He comes in motion across the formation and then pins a guy from inside out. And then Williams able to pick up an easy 1st down. Kansas hadn't had any problems, Anish, moving the football. It's just they've got to take care of it in terms of not turning it over.
2 quarterbacks in the game now. Isaiah Marshall hands this one off. It's Henderson, the speedster, the former Alabama wideout, picks up 9. Actually was a running back when he came to Bama, moved to wide receiver, and he's been a big play threat for Kansas.
This is an excellent drive for Kansas in response to that field goal that Utah had.
Highshaw bayonets for a 1st down. And what Kansas is doing on the ground to Utah, eerily similar to what K-State did a week ago.
Averaging about 8.2 yards a carry are the Jayhawks, and that's going to get you a lot of short yardage situations. No passes have taken place this drive. After the interception, it's been all ground game for the Jayhawks.
It's almost as if Kansas is saying, let's see you stop the run.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Until they do, I think you stay with it.
They run it again, and it's Williams. Hammerheads to the 11-yard line, a gain of 2.
You know what they're ripe for right now, they being Utah? A nice little play action pass. A little RPO action right now from Jaylen Daniels, maybe catch Emmanuel Henderson or Pickett, or maybe even the tight end, Groom, who has 5 touchdown receptions of his own here in 2025.
Look at the play selection on the drive, 9 plays, all of them runs.
You got man-to-man at the top. This little fade route at the top is calling for it.
Another toss. Highshaw can't get past Fano. It's going to bring up 3rd down.
Boy, just inviting on the outside to the left of Jaylen Daniels is where he wants to go with the football. Safeties are inside right here. You got nothing on the outside, no over-the-top help because everybody is crowding the line of scrimmage, waiting on the running play.
Watch out for 88 Gruen. Kansas loves its tight ends in the red zone. Daniels throwing for the end zone, broken up, incomplete. Knocked away by Teo Johnson. Last week, Johnson had the big return on the two-point attempt against Kansas State, giving Utah 2 points, and that turned the tide of the game.
That's a heck of a play coming from inside out, and you get Emilian on the outside. Well, that's a heck of a play. Nice play by Teo Johnson there, just interfering with the vision of Emilian.
Laith Marjan on for a field goal attempt.
Looked like it was going to be a walk-in touchdown when the ball was snapped.
A 31-yarder and a flag on the snap.
Stop it like that. It's usually because somebody flinched.
Ball start. Offense number 77. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Mr. Enrique Cruz Jr., a transfer from your alma mater in GWES, found his way to Lawrence, Kansas.
Similar weather today, except they play indoors in central New York.
Played every home game indoors, my man. Nothing like it.
So now a 36-yarder from Marjan, 14 of 16 on the season, but he's missed 2 of his last 4. And he misses this one. So Marjan, a finalist or a semifinalist for the Luke Rosa Award a year ago, normally reliable, might have a case of the yips. TNT keeping you connected with our bracket insights. So Utah still has a path to the Big 12 championship game. It starts with a win today. They need Texas Tech to lose in Morgantown. Then the hard part, you got to root for BYU. They also need Arizona State to beat Arizona.
The tough part of that is the first one.
Well, here comes Bird Ficklin, who has been a revelation. Freshman quarterback, 3 touchdowns last week against Kansas State. He'll come in, he's got running packages mostly, but he will throw the ball. A special talent who adds another dynamic running element to this offense.
Yeah, he's thrown 35 passes this year. He's 60%, 3 touchdowns and no picks.
Dampier, his throw is batted down. Almost picked off. Leroy Harris got his mitt on it. Clark?
Well, Lance Leipold told me right before kick they will be without starting defensive back Jalen Todd. He's one of their top tacklers, a sophomore out of Michigan. Started every game for the Jayhawks this season. Was a big recruit, too. Had offers from Florida, Penn State. So his absence sorely missed.
Playmaker on the back end. Really talented and consistent all year long. They miss his leadership.
Nowhere to go for Dampier. Only got a couple. It's 4th down and a big stop by this Kansas defense. So Kansas has had opportunies. They've driven inside the Utah 30 twice.
Bend but don't break.
Then they miss a field goal, but off this missed field goal, the defense able to get a stop.
And defensively, it's been bend but don't break for Kansas. Allowed a couple of big plays in the running game, but then when they needed to stiffen up, they did. Held Utah to a field goal, drove the field again, and then missed a field goal themselves.
Ryan Phillips to kick it away. Good kick. Tate Nagy retreating and makes a fair catch at the 27. A 48-yard punt. Let's check in with Kevin.
Yeah, you can't tell me it's not a distraction with all that stuff swirling around lane. But if you're a player on that team and you're on the leadership council, hey, this is about us. Let's go out and finish this for ourselves, and we know how to do this.
And Ole Miss knows what's at stake. And This is a team very much in contention, still to get to the SEC championship. Marshall gets another carry, serpents around the corner, and gets out of bounds at about the 35. Ole Miss also certainly in the mix for an at-large spot. They're in the top 10 of the playoff rankings. For Utah, we showed you the scenario. For the Utes, they're at number 13. They need a little chaos in front of them, and then they cannot afford a whole lot of chaos behind them. You look at teams like a Vanderbilt, a chance to jump Utah if they beat a ranked Tennessee team, or Michigan behind Utah, but they have a chance against Ohio State today. So a lot of moving pieces. Kyle Whittingham's message to his team was, listen, if we don't take care of business today and then good things happen,
doesn't matter.
That is the worst case scenario.
Yeah. What would be really crushing to Utah is if everything happened behind them and in front of them and they don't take care of business right here in Lawrence, Kansas. So you've got to handle your things first. That's why I like when teams are before the half or at the end of a game, when there's time on the clock, go score first. Let the defense figure it out. You got to take care of business first and get that score you're looking for.
Utah, after one quarter, leading Kansas here in Lawrence.
Back in Lawrence with Lance Leipold, Kansas head coach. 93 yards on the ground. Why so successful in that aspect of the game?
You know, we thought we'd have a chance this week. We got to be able to run the football. We saw that, you know, they gave up some yards on the ground last week. We got to be able to stay with that and stay to it in the game plan.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Yeah, they've got that chance that he's talking about, Anish, because they're averaging right around 7 yards a carry. They're moving the football that way. They just have to take care of it and then finish drives, whether they're field goals or the big points.
They've been inside Utah territory twice. Nothing to show for it. Flea flicker. Daniels unloads. Incomplete. Flag at the end of the play. Teo Johnson, the safety, in coverage.
Yeah, a little
against
interference.
Bryson Canty.
A little face guarding there by Teo Johnson, and they had him fooled. They've run the football to perfection. And they're just going to get a seam route right down the middle of the field. The safeties, they bite to help out on the run, and it's Bryson Canty that was wide open. Excuse me, Emmanuel Henderson that was wide open for a while.
No, it was Canty.
He had both. Henderson was open on the outside, Canty right down the middle of the field, and it was dealer's choice for Jaylen Daniels.
Not a spot foul, so a 15-yard penalty, and Kansas for the third time today in Utah territory.
I want that spot foul. Give me that, and the rule changes.
Daniels keeps and trucks to the 44 for a gain of 3. Andre, when you think of Jaylen Daniels' career as a freshman with Les Miles as the head coach, thrown into the fire on an 0-9 team, then he has to battle losing his job. A new coach had to battle injuries. He never wavered in his loyalty to this program, and that's why Lance Leipold calls him a transformational figure at Kansas.
Well, Jason Bean playing as well as he was playing. They went back to Daniels because of his leadership skills.
Daniels out of bounds, takes a big hit, and that will draw the flag at the end of the play. Cash Dillon getting the start today for John Henry Daly.
And big Calvin Clements coming over to help his man. Hey, you don't hit my guy late out of bounds, but you know, to your point, it just shows the grit and the grind that Jaylen Daniels has, and the amount of respect that everybody in this program from top to bottom, coaches, players, administration, everybody that works in the football offices, they really trust and admire this young man.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Kansas moves up 15 after the penalty.
It's a little late out of bounds. I think it's Cash Dillon coming in late.
2 15-yard penalties by Utah on this drive.
Gorsica's back in the game as the 6th offensive lineman, kind of taking a page out of Utah's playbook with that 6th offensive lineman.
Highshaw spears inside the 15 for a gain of about 8.
You see that with Utah. That's about 50% of their offense, and they bring in a 6th offensive lineman at times. It's Keith Olson. With Kansas, it's been Nolan Gorsica. Even the Texans, they run a lot of 6 offensive linemen with Blake Fisher as part of that package.
Well, the run game's worked for Kansas, 111 yards already. And this is now a few weeks in a row. Utah has struggled defensively to stop the run.
My point is that you're starting to see that more and more across the board, especially running the football and for pass protection.
Again, off a heavy set. This is Williams' feet
Nice
turning.
run.
First and goal, Kansas. Well, Andre, we've seen it, right? For years with the spread offenses and tempo, everyone went smaller and faster. And as the wheel comes back around, now it's phone booth football again.
Yeah, you wanna make your base 4-2 front. Then a way to offset that is I'll bring a bigger body in, an extra offensive lineman, and we'll just run and force you to play run defense with that smaller player on the defensive side.
Jackson Benny making the tackle after a gain of a yard by Highshaw.
And I'm still waiting on that play action, the RPO with Bowden Gruen, the big tight end. They're ripe for it. It's you get second down coming up here, but show it and pull it.
Bowden Gruen, number 88. Kansas tight ends have 8 touchdown catches this season.
That's Gruen in the slot.
And he's in motion. That was eye candy. Highshaw with the first touchdown of the game, fittingly on senior day.
Finally putting it all together was Kansas. They take the shot. They wanted to create explosive plays. Well, they did by running the football with consistency and finishing it up with Highshaw. But the shot down the field kind of softened the defense again, and they came right back with a run. And this time, they're able to put it into the end zone.
2 15-yard penalties by Utah aiding the drive. And Highshaw, another 6th-year senior, another guy who's battled a number of injuries, and he stayed in Lawrence the entire time. On senior day, he gives the Jayhawks the lead.
Introducing Verts. Swipe for news and highlights. Now available on the ESPN app.
Anish Shroff, Andre Ware, Paul Carcaterra, happy Thanksgiving. It's the start of the holiday season. Utah needing a win to stay in playoff contention and to keep their Big 12 championship game hopes alive. They're down 7-3. Kansas has run the ball for 125 yards already. And that skips out of the end zone for a touchback. More football today at 3:30 Eastern. We have clean, old-fashioned hate. Last year it was the hateful 8. 8 overtimes between Georgia and Georgia Tech, and then Texas A&M. If they beat Texas, the Aggies punch a ticket to the SEC championship game. You got to think if Texas were to win, they might be back on the periphery of the playoff picture as Bentley, the tight end, makes the catch at the 30-yard line, tackled by Gibbs. Utah, coming into this drive, only had the ball for 4 minutes. Bird Ficklin is in at quarterback. That's Rayshawn Parker. He gets Ficklin, excuse me, was lined up in wide receiver with Dampier still in there at quarterback. They'll use both quarterbacks are good friends. It started with Dampier being the mentor for the younger Ficklin, and now the coach is telling us it's really blossomed into a beautiful friendship between the two.
Always found it tough to befriend a guy I was competing with at quarterback. Anywhere else, basketball, baseball, that's different. But quarterback, there's only one of us that's supposed to take the snaps in this deal.
Dampier, quarterback keeper. Does he get there? He does. Dampier had the game-winning touchdown run in the comeback against Kansas State. He came to Utah from New Mexico, and he came with a few teammates. Nakori Rogers, a running back, Ryan Davis, their top receiver, who's out today, and also the offensive coordinator for Utah, Jason Beck.
Yeah.
And he has revitalized an offense that really stagnated last year. finding Whittemore for a gain of about 9. Whittemore stepped in for Davis last week, had a career-high 6 catches.
Well, that's why it's been so amazing to kind of watch this Utah team. Jason Beck, their offensive coordinator, comes in, implements a brand new offense, but it's the same guys up front that really caught on to it. They were kind of challenged to learn a new system, and to a man, they have done that and executed well.
Parker ripped down in the backfield for a loss of 2 by Leroy Harris, the Chattanooga transfer who was supposed to redshirt but just kept on making plays.
Yeah, he has been a pleasant surprise this year, and the coaches were excited to see him get more time. He's earned it. He's young as a sophomore, but he's talented, and he's a good zone blitzer. So he has an interception to his credit. A couple of pass breaks up around.
Utah empties it out. RPO, Buchanan wide open across the middle. J.J. Buchanan with a 58-yard touchdown.
That will silence the crowd faster than anything. Utah doing something similar that Kansas has done. Run the football, and then the play action creates plays in the secondary where guys are coming up. They're starting to look at who has the football in the backfield, and that allowed Buchanan to sneak right behind the linebackers for his 4th touchdown reception of the year.
Andre, a team like Utah, they empty it out. 3rd down and manageable.
Yeah.
Back of your mind, you're thinking quarterback draw.
No doubt.
And Dampier sold it. Utah retakes the lead. The true freshman from Henderson, Nevada, J.J. Buchanan with the TD.
Look at him go! And he did not get there! The Big 12 championship.
So Maganesian, take a look at this last play where you have a linebacker here that's going to get caught up in the action of Dampier. He's going to leave. That leaves a vacated area for J.J. Buchanan. But there is a but here once we let this rip. I think the officials missed one here. Get Buchanan coming right into that area. This is ineligible man downfield. He's down the field about 3 yards, and there's an official standing right there. Not sure why he didn't throw the flag. That's one the officials missed, but Utah into the end zone to take the lead here.
Yeah, they got the PAT off in time before they could call it. That's something you see often on RPOs. You get a guy too far downfield, but Utah gets away with it, and Buchanan got free. So J.J. Buchanan, who had a 60-yard catch last week, with a 58-yard touchdown today. He's a talented tight end. They look at him more of a hybrid wide receiver tight end. Now the dangerous Henderson. Out to the 30.
Our Friday spotlight is on Kansas quarterback Jaylen Daniels. His impact off the field has been incredible. Jaylen was raised by his mother, Starkia, who he says is #1 motivator and fan. He saw how hard she had to work to provide for him. He started the Mom to JD6 Foundation, which is committed to supporting single mothers who are raising athletic children by providing financial aid, mentorship, sports training, and community resources. On Wednesday, he hosted a movie night in Lawrence. Jaylen told me his foundation's so relatable to him because of the fact he was raised by a single mom, and he wants to make a difference for each child and mom, a difference maker on and off the field at KU. That's what Jaylen Daniels is.
Yeah, he has been that guy, but we're getting a sense of who might be next. Isaiah Marshall, who just ran that last play. Future might be pretty bright for him in Lawrence, too.
No doubt about it, and they're leaning on him more and more as this game progresses.
Everybody you talk to about Jaylen Daniels as Williams gets the call and picks up a first down. They all say the same thing. Ultimate team guy, about loyalty.
Always a smile on his face.
Represents so many things that have kind of gone by the wayside in amateur sports.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I may have to give him a call and get him some help, or have him help us out with our foundation. Myself, Warren Moon, and Vince Young, brothers in arms, and get him involved there with single moms or athletes from single mom families, or single parent families, rather.
Pickett, shipwrecked. Benny in the backfield along with Teo Johnson.
That's an excellent play up the field. Teo Johnson's been involved in some big plays, prevented a touchdown pass early in this one to Emilian, and then there coming up making a nice stop. He had a pass interference call in the game, but might have been a touchdown had he not committed the pass interference.
6 tackles now for Jackson Benny, who plays both ways. He's a vertical threat on offense as well. They've got a few of those guys. Anderson motions. Daniels looks him off, sets up the screen to Pickett.
You got to get up the field.
And guess who? Jackson Benny gets him for a loss again. Back-to-back TFLs for the safety.
So fast on the back end. He adds the element of speed, both he and Jonathan Hall. But that little tunnel screen, you got to get vertical as soon as you can to avoid exactly what happened there to Cam Pickett, a loss of yardage and putting you behind the sticks. Because every one of those thrown behind the line of scrimmage pretty much, or right down the line of scrimmage.
Keep it on the ground on 3rd down and long. And they get a yard past the original line of scrimmage with Highshaw. 4th down. And here's the punt team. The crowd's booing. I think what Kansas was trying to do, if they got maybe 7 or 8 back with the draw, they were going to go for it. And that's why you call the run in that spot.
Love the call, and you're just hoping to pop it, or at least get, half of it, maybe a little bit more of it back, so you can go for it on 4th down. They've been decent in that area, 62% on 4th down of the Jayhawks this year.
Finn Lappin punts it away. Mana Carvalho with the fair catch at the 10. He had a punt return touchdown earlier this month against Cincinnati. Utah ball with the lead. Let's take a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by Capital One. The haters' guide to the weekend if you're a Utah fan. You're rooting for Ohio State to beat Michigan. You're rooting for A&M to beat Texas. You don't want those teams to leapfrog you. It probably helps if Georgia beats Georgia Tech. And then you want Oklahoma to lose. They've got 2 losses. You want Notre Dame to lose. You certainly want Alabama to lose. And it would obviously help if Miami lost as well. And then with BYU, it gets interesting, because if it's about an at-large spot, yes, it helps that BYU would lose. But if you're looking at the scenario to get into the Big 12 championship, you need BYU
to beat UCF
to win. And there is a man down for Kansas after that 1st down play.
That's Mason Ellis, I think, number 23. He is in the game, Anish, for Jalen Todd. Clark told us that would be out today, and they're already thin at that nickel/hawk position, is what they call it, with Todd being out. So a big-time piece of your defense already out, and then the guy that backs him up is finally getting up.
You'll likely see Saeed Gibbs, who's played some nickel.
That's Ellis coming into your screen and just makes contact with Parker, but Parker gets the better end of it.
So Saeed Gibbs, 22 in black, redshirt junior from Everett, Massachusetts, Georgia Tech transfer into the game at nickel. Wayshawn Parker coming off 4 straight 100-yard games in the backfield. Dampier is shoved out of bounds for a loss. Bengali Kamara.
He would not give an inch.
There is a flag on the far side of the field away from the play.
Just the way they describe Kamara is that he is a active player who causes chaos when he's on the field.
Sixth-year senior, 4 years at Pitt, 1 at South Carolina.
See how this shakes out.
Illegal formation, offense, 5 players in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
The official was kind of giving the indication to Coach Leipold, like, you want to decline this, right? And he's like, no, I actually want the penalty yardage. We'll give him the down over.
Dampier has his pass batted down.
That's the second
again.
one. Yeah,
and for the second time, it's Leroy Harris.
Yeah, Leroy Harris the third, making plays. Second batted pass that he's had in this one. He had one in the first quarter, now in the second quarter. And it looked like it was going to open up a nice little passing lane for Devin Dampier, and all of a sudden you see this big long arm come out of nowhere.
Dampier toward the sideline. And they are going to talk it over. It is a catch, Larry Simmons.
Nice job by Simmons of just keeping his feet in bounds. And he is toe tapping all the way.
We're really
now
on
we
the
may
field
get an
with
extended
completed
look.
catch inbounds. The previous play is under review.
When does he gain control? And when does... That is close.
Let's bring in our rules analyst, Jerry McGinn. Jerry, what does it look like to you?
I'll tell you, the first look, it doesn't appear that he has control of the ball with a body part down. It looks like his feet are up in the air, and then he has control. So I believe replay is going to flip this to an incomplete pass.
Well, I'm looking at that back foot, too. Is that back foot out of bounds and on the white line when he catches the ball?
You're thinking the left or the right foot?
The left foot.
I'm wondering if the right foot is down and the left foot is kind of hovering above it. There's no doubt that the left foot is out of bounds, in my opinion. It's if the right one is somehow down as he's gaining control or has control of it. And remember, the ruling on the field was indeed a catch.
And trying to see, one is that left foot off the ground, on the ground, any part of either
Does
foot
a heel
out of
suffice
bounds.
as a being in bounds? And looking back into the field of play, the heels have to be in for it to be a catch. Oh, that's tough. That is so close.
Jerry, would you file that under clear and obvious?
No, I believe not. You know, since it's not clear and obvious and the ruling on the field was a completed catch, they're probably going to have to stay with this. So if he does get that right heel down, that right heel is in, then they'll stay with it. It is very tight.
Yeah, this is I bet the best view or best look we're going to get, and you just can't tell.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the ruling on the field is going to be the difference maker here, Jerry.
Exactly. I would say that it's incomplete, but clear and obvious, you have to go with the ruling on the field because the rule of thumb
My question is that left foot. The left foot, is that left foot out of bounds during the catch?
After review, the ruling on the field of a completed catch inbounds is upheld. First down, Utah.
Yeah.
Again, nothing there that is clear and obvious to overturn it. And that's one of those where if the call on the field was an incomplete pass, I'm not sure that's overturned.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
And that's why the call on the field still matters, even with replay. So a first down for Utah. Big catch by Simmons. The give is to Bray. He's been an explosive player. 7 yards a pop. Freshman from Fort Worth. Had a huge game in the contest against BYU.
Yeah, he is excellent with the ball in his hands. A young player who just keeps getting better and better each and every time he's in the game. He averages 7 yards a carry in this Utah offense.
Buchanan, who's got the touchdown, goes wide to the left. Quarterback keeper. It's Dampier, and he's got a first down, tackled by the safety Lyric Rawls.
I mean, Rawls came down from his safety spot and just chopped down Dampier. Team's best player on the back end, according to the coaching staff, is Lyric Rawls.
Devin Dampier's been playing through an ankle injury for about 2 months. They go to the outside. Bentley, the tight end, gets upended inside the 45, picks up a dozen. They love their tight ends in this offense, Bentley and Buchanan.
Guess who makes the tackle? Lyric Rawls on the back end.
Flags, multiple flags.
It's like a false start here.
False start. Yep. Offense, number 52. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
It's the right guard, Michael Mokofisi, part of an offensive line that not only brought back all 5 starters from last year, all 5 have started every game this year. And when you look at that unit as a whole, no transfers, so everyone has been homegrown. Utah, they've had a chance to study under Jim Harding, one of the best O-line coaches in the country. Quick throw, Buchanan bodies his defender and goes out of bounds at the 42-yard line, ran over Saeed Gibbs.
What did Coach Whittingham tell us? That if you come to Utah and you start for a number of years under Jim Harding, you're going to give yourself a pretty good chance to play on Sundays. He develops talent up front like nobody's business.
This is Bray. And he's sandwiched. Kansas saying the ball came out.
When did the whistle blow in reference to the ball coming out?
Lyric Rawls ended up with the football.
Fully on the field is
forward progress. It stopped, the whistle had blown, and so they're going to mark it down. And still Utah's football.
Yeah, Rawls ripped it out and fell on it.
Showing it on the big board here, and the fans getting a little restless in these parts with the catch along the sideline as well as...
And that play is not reviewable. Forward progress is not a reviewable play. So third down, ball is on the ground. There's a flag down as well. Utah recovered.
Still shy of the first down marker. Someone recovered it and dove forward.
There's been some sloppiness on the exchange. We saw a bad snap early, which forced Utah to kick a field goal.
Illegal shift. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Penalties adding up for Utah. That's 5 now in the first half.
This ball's just sitting there for a while. It actually hits
Bentley,
who is in motion, and I often wonder that. You know how I'm not a big fan of the shotgun. Now, we just got where that's out there. But when guys go in motion right as the ball's being snapped, I wonder every time I see it every weekend why it doesn't happen more, that very play, with the ball hitting somebody that's crossing the formation in motion. Now, with that being said, if I were coaching and coordinating an offense, yes, I would have the shotgun as a part of my offense.
Well, this Utah offense, which over the last 4 games has averaged more than 50 points per game, held to 10.
Kansas has chosen to accept the penalty. We'll replay third down.
Is that a replay of second down, that explanation?
It's going to be 3rd and 8. Coming up on the 2-minute timeout. And here we are. Utah driving with a 3-point lead. We look forward to all of it. Utah facing a 3rd down and 8 with a 3-point lead. It's a must-win for the Utes if they're to have any chance of the postseason. Dampier fits one into his tight end, Bentley, and a 1st down for Utah.
He does a nice job of getting inside position. One of the Kansas defenders, but he's such a big target, 6'4", 260. Hard to miss him, and when a guy like that's running open, you just put it right on his body. Big Keith Olsen in as that 6th old lineman here.
Part of the Rhino package. Dampier lets it fly, wants Bentley underthrown. Incomplete. Bengali Kamara in coverage. And 2nd down. I think one of the surprises is how much Utah's thrown it in the first half.
Dampier got to it late. You're going to see right down the seam, right down the middle of the field, right around the 20 is when the ball should have been thrown. And quarterback Dampier takes a shot, but he doesn't take that shot if the ball is out and on time. He was just late to his tight end, Bentley.
It's been almost 50-50 run and pass for Utah. Whittemore clipped. 3rd down. Gibbs with the tackle.
Whittemore's really had to step up in the absence of Ryan Davis. Had 6 catches a week ago and filled in admirably for Davis. Davis is their top receiver, 57 catches on the year, but he is out, and you need others to step up in his place.
Parker goes wide. Thrown behind Parker. It's 4th down, and a decision now for Kyle Whittingham.
And Dampier is going to have a little talk with Wayshawn Parker. I think he was thinking, as you motion out there, you're just going to run a hitch. Defense and coverage is off. You hook it up, and then we'll live with the result on 4th down if it's maybe a yard or so. But he went on a 9 route, which is to just go deep, and Dampier threw it underneath.
Utah in its wins, 13 for 13 on 4th down. In its losses against Texas Tech and BYU, 1 for 7 on 4th down, and Kansas uses a timeout on defense. WWE Survivor Series, a Thanksgiving week tradition. And War Games returns tomorrow night with a stacked card highlighted by the main event, a 5-on-5 locked 2-ring steel cage match with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar leading their teams. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, streaming on the ESPN app. There's a bit of a crossover with wrestling and college football. Pretty good list right there. It'll be 4th and 6. The offense out there for Utah. The Utes have converted their last 5 on 4th down. Dampier dancing toward the sideline. Nothing there.
And no
Incomplete
flags.
for Bentley. Kansas takes over, and they've got 2 timeouts.
2 timeouts. 45 seconds in decent field position with an experienced quarterback. And this is just great coverage all across the board. Everybody is accounted for, and nowhere to go with the football for Dampier. Kansas with an opportunity right here to maybe go down and tie this thing up.
Senior day for Jaylen Daniels. Four-time captain, sixth-year man.
Thinking field goal here, but boy, you certainly wouldn't turn down a touchdown.
Empties it out. Downfield, Henderson through his hands. He had a step on Elijah Davis.
Just keep running. He pulls up to try to track the football. If he keeps on running, he's going to run right through the ball on the run. It's a 9 route, and Daniels eventually gets back to him, a little in and out, and if he just kind of keeps going, he runs right through the ball, and it's a foot race. When he turned and slowed down, that's what caused him to miss it.
And he doesn't get caught in foot races.
No.
Daniels chased, throws it away.
Smart. That's the 3rd one today by Jaylen Daniels, and it just keeps you on pace with an opportunity to pick up a first down rather than get yourself in trouble and turn it over.
Logan Fano bringing the pressure. He's the brother of right tackle Spencer Fano. Spencer is the #1 rated offensive tackle draft prospect according to Mel Kiper.
2 good-looking players. I think Logan has a very bright future in his own right.
On 3rd down. Daniels back to the air. Too much helium for Pickett. And a 3 and out for Kansas. Utah, remember, gets the ball to begin the 3rd quarter.
You got 2 timeouts. Why not run it? Why not get yourself a drive starter where you can at least pick up a first down or have that on your mind? Spend a timeout, think about it, and then continue to run the football. But when you have 2 timeouts like that in the field position they had, all that's available and open to you.
Penalty marker down.
It's going to be the defensive end, Finkley, who has the false start. But I'm wondering if this discussion is more about Utah with the officials than what Kansas State and Finkley just.
Play a game. Defense.
Yeah. It's the movement of Utah's defensive line.
A point of emphasis this year, the disconcerting signals.
Let's take a look at this. They're going to shift last minute and shift to their left, which causes Finkley, the defensive end, to jump. And so Kansas benefits from that.
It doesn't change the operation. Kansas still sets up for a punt. Low snap. Carvalho makes the fair catch at the 20. So Utah with 3 timeouts in 20 seconds. We remind you at 3:30 Eastern on ABC, clean, old-fashioned hate. Last year, Georgia and Georgia Tech went to 8 overtimes, the hateful 8. And then Texas A&M with a chance to get to the SEC championship with a win. All they have to do is beat rival Texas. Marcel Reed and Arch Manning, pretty good QB duel.
A chance to win a conference championship since 1998 for Texas A&M.
In a long time.
Long overdue.
That's the drive starter. Not much for Dampier, and it looks like Utah may just take this into the locker room, not stopping the clock. On the season, the Utes are 8-0 when leading at the half. Both teams walk away from this first half feeling like they missed multiple opportunities. It's time for the Avocados from Mexico halftime report. Kevin and EJ, take it away. It's the Big 12 Conference on ESPN. It's Black Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving. And if you watched that first half, it felt like you were watching 2 teams playing the morning after Thanksgiving. Just a little sloppiness and, frankly, Andre, we're too many leftovers.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of mistakes by both teams. Kansas able to drive the field and get in scoring position, but unable to put it in the end zone or extra field goals for that reason on a couple of drives. But it's been a competitive first half.
First half stats brought to you by Viore. For Utah, remember, they need to win to have any chance at a playoff spot, a Big 12 championship. They also need some chaos. And Kansas needs a win to go bowling.
Trying to extend their season and get to a 13th game in a bowl game are the Jayhawks.
Utah will receive to begin this second half. That will draw a flag. It rolled out of bounds before it got to the end zone.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. Receiving team is elected to take the ball at the 35-yard line. First down.
Let's check in with Paul Carcaterra.
Well, moments ago, I caught up with Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham. He categorized his offense as sluggish, not in rhythm, shooting themselves in the foot, not establishing the run game the way that he would like. And defensively, he called his unit a little bit soft in terms of not stopping Kansas's run. Kansas gashed them for 143 yards on the ground in that first half.
On first down, Devin Dampier dives right back to the line of scrimmage. Big DJ Withers getting in there.
Both he and Leroy Harris, the third, again, making a play on Dampier. He has had some kind of game here early.
Utah, the #2 rushing offense in the country. Come out throwing. Bentley, the tight end, pulled down from behind by Kamara. Gain of 4. Brings up a third down. This is also one of the best third down offenses in the country. 53% entering play behind only Indiana and Ohio State.
It's been impressive to watch, that's for sure. Now faced with third and about 5. Got to convert here if you're Utah.
Whittemore comes in motion. Dampier finds Whittemore and able to slip ahead for a first down.
Mentioned earlier, he is getting more time with Ryan Davis out of the lineup. That's a nice route. Found a nice soft area, nobody there. Sit down in zone coverage between the 2 linebackers. Just play catch with the quarterback.
So Dampier, the quarterback, in motion. Wildcat snap. It's Wayshawn Parker. Sheds a tackler, wipers past another, and picks up a first down inside the 40 of Kansas. 15 more yards.
Yeah, sort of a direct snap, or was a direct snap to Parker with Dampier in motion. And this young man has just been outstanding. Really has stepped up the last 4 games where he's gone for over 100. 4 games in a row.
8 in white. Lander Barton lined up at tight end. Looked like an RPO, and Dampier went the wrong way. They give him forward progress to the line of scrimmage. Devin Dye, the son of Kansas City Royal baseball great Jermaine Dye, with the stop.
Heck of a tackle there. Transferred in from Utah State by way of Palmer Junior College. Now a senior on this Kansas roster.
Second down and long. There's Lander Barton. He's a captain, he's a linebacker, he's one of the heart and soul players of this team, and he, Smith, Snowden, Jackson Benny have all been playing two-way this year. Kyle Whittingham got his inspiration from watching what Colorado did with Travis Hunter.
Yeah, you got a couple of guys that double and play up both offense and defense. Lander Barton certainly being one that's helped out this offense tremendously.
Whittemore comes in motion. Dampier loads up, overthrows Bentley. It's 4th down, and this may be go-for-it territory once again.
In no man's land, 4th and about 5.5 yards or so here for Utah. And this would be big for Kansas to stymie this opening drive by Utah. I'm just kind of surprised with the way they've gone about their business in the running game. Why throw the football so much when you're dominating the line of scrimmage with those 6 offensive linemen and Wayshawn Parker?
Nakari Rogers, who's been their short yardage, their finisher, is in there to block. Quick throw.
Guess who?
Way offline. Leroy Harris having himself a ball game.
With another pass defended. He gets his hands on that baby as well from the edge position and turns away Utah on 4th down. That's 3 batted balls now by Leroy Harris.
Playoff selection show. The bracket will be filled. Judgment Day is here.
That is December 7th, a weekend from now. And so much up in the air, so many conference championship games unsettled. Remember, the top 5 conference champions who are ranked highest in the college football playoff rankings all have a path to the college football playoff. As Marshall gets about a yard. Kark?
The 143 yards on the ground for Kansas is the most in the half all season. Lance Leipold told me he wants a heavy dose of the run game, but needs some rhythm in the pass game too, specifically in the play action game with Jaylen Daniels. So look for some play action. He thinks defensively they've held up at the line of scrimmage with the ability to stop Utah in their run game.
Well, they have. They've held Utah to 94 yards, and Utah's been putting up rushing numbers akin to what you see from service academies. Hishaw turbines across the 40 to the 42. 3rd and short. Hey, Andre, we were talking about it at halftime. I understand Lance Leipold wants a little more of the passing game sprinkled in. They've had a lot of success on the ground.
Yeah, they have, and that's exactly where I would stay, is on the ground if I was Kansas, as well as Utah. Both teams haven't proven that they could stop each other with consistency. Utah's kind of gone away from it. They run once and then they start throwing. Kansas seems like they've gotten back to it a little bit here.
Jayhawks averaging 6 yards per rushing attempt. That one only got 2, but it's enough for a first down. LeShawn Williams.
It's more what I expected to see from Kansas as they check in Garcica, the 6th offensive lineman, all 6'6", 315 pounds of them.
We've seen Utah do that all season with its Rhino package, and a heavier set for Kansas. There is Garcica, 59 in motion. He's a tight end. Daniels will throw. Shot play. And it's hauled in by Henderson. They pick on Elijah Davis. We saw it against Kansas State. We saw Baylor do it. And that time Henderson gets the best of Davis.
Yeah, in the last 2 games, as you mentioned, he has kind of been a target. And Jaylen Daniels, you know that as an experienced quarterback, when you sit down and watch film, where's the opponent having success against Utah's defense in the passing game? And it's been right at number 9, Elijah Davis.
Another trip inside the 30. Daniels on the zone read. Keeps and sets up a 1st and goal.
Excellent job of play calling by Jim Zabrowski. Mixing things up, going deep. He started with a run, then they come back because of the success on the ground. They go to the air to Emmanuel Henderson Jr. and come right back with a quarterback run. This is a nice job of play calling. Utah right now on its heels in each. With 9 guys in the box.
Williams can't get away from Teo Johnson.
There were 9 defenders in a box and locked on man-to-man with the other 2 and just said, hey, if you're going to throw it, you got to beat us that way, but we are going to commit to stopping this running game.
Andre, as a quarterback in that spot, do you want the freedom to check to something
Absolutely.
else?
I think you're playing with one hand tied behind your back if you don't have the ability to check out and take advantage of a matchup on the outside.
Isaiah Marshall is in the game. He gets the direct snap. Following Cure ahead and in. Right behind the tight end, Leighton Cure, and it's ruled a touchdown.
Go back to where your bread is being buttered, and that's the running game of the Kansas Jayhawks. They saw it on film last week. Kansas State had a great deal of success on the ground. Kansas implementing that very thing here today. It doesn't matter if it's 7, 8, or 9 guys in the box. They're able to move bodies and find the crease for these running backs. And Isaiah Marshall, the quarterback in the Wildcat, definitely crosses.
Yep.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play ends our replay review.
You see how fast I did that? That's how fast the replay officials.
That's how fast
should be able to come back with it. Yeah, no doubt. It takes more time for him to get to the replay box or to view it than there will to have it stand.
I think the question might be, does the knee go down before
there's
the ball crosses? Oh, maybe.
Yeah, so close. I don't know how you could.
And remember, when that knee goes down, if any part of the ball is over that white line,
how do we know that's not a knee from another player behind him? It's so diluted, so.
Well, they can match up the different angles. Let's bring in Jerry McGinn. Jerry, do you see this being upheld or getting overturned? Is there enough?
I think this is a really good stop by replay. So it does appear that it is his knee, Andre, and it does also appear that the ball is short of the goal line. So they're going to put the ball at like the 6-inch line and take the touchdown off the board.
That's close. That is close.
After review, the runner was short of the goal line.
Good call, Jerry.
Third down.
Great call.
Now, I'm just going to warn our viewers at home. If Kansas lines up in the shotgun here, Andre may lose it.
I may jump over out of the booth. Short yardage situations is where I can't stand it. I know you had a question. Someone asked you a question: is do I dislike it all the time? No, not all the time. Just especially in situations like this. Can't stand this look. Go under. There you go. Atta baby.
Daniels. Did he get the push? Ruled a touchdown. They may look at this too.
They have to. Gotta take a look at this one. Someone made contact while he was trying to dive over. They dove, and there was initial contact that held him short. And you get a little push in there from the end, and I think that one's gonna stand.
Again, any part of the ball, if it goes over the goal line, touchdown. And how about 59 Gorsica, little tush push.
Yep.
And for Jalen Daniels, that's special. Touchdown on senior day.
Score in your last game in this stadium. That's big. Kind of a fitting way for him to finish his career here. The only thing better is to win the football game and
go bowling.
Get to a bowl game.
You think about what Jalen Daniels stepped into. Quarterbacked a winless team as a true freshman. Now as a 6th-year senior in a brand new stadium. Has his team on top of number 13 Utah and Kansas's final regular season game. It's time for our drive recap, brought to you by Target.
Jaden Daniels with a big pass over the top to Henderson as receiver, and then they bring him right back for a quarterback run, and then able to stick it in from about the half-inch line to put his team ahead 14-10 and a much-needed win for this Kansas program, and they try to get themselves bowl eligible.
Only once before has Kansas been bowl eligible in 3 out of 4 seasons. It's something they're trying to do today. Lance Leipold has made this a respectable program since he took over. Short kick. Utah will begin across its own 35. And Anish Shroff, Heisman Trophy winner Andre Ware. So down at the goal line, Kansas went under center. They went with a quarterback sneak. Those are some of your do's. You have a list of do's and don'ts, my friend.
Yeah, and you know, one of them is when you get in a short yardage situation, why go into the shotgun where you allow for penetration and you don't get any downhill momentum at the line of scrimmage. So, you know, that's it. Take a risk after a takeaway. Big men wearing number 0. I love that. There's a couple of other ones in there. Nice run here.
Oh, hold on a second. Kansas ripped it away. And it's Jayhawk football.
Boy, Ficklin was trying to fight for extra yards, but Kansas in there with Trey Lathan comes up with a football. And he's their leader in tackles with 82 coming in, but they actually hold up Ficklin, the backup tight end, quarterback to Dampier. Not sure when the ball comes out though, Anish. But it's out before he hits the ground, and it's Lathan with the football. Now it's shot time.
That wasn't on your list.
It is shot.
It should be.
It should be. You get a big turnover like that.
Fumble and recovery by the defense. The previous play is under replay review.
So they will look at this.
You get it past the 50-yard line or in plus yardage territory and a big turnover, you go up top. But Lathan is in there. You see him, number 4, and he's fighting to get the ball out.
Let's bring in Jerry McGinn, our rules analyst. Jerry, what do you see?
So first of all, I was surprised that the on-field officials didn't stop the play because of forward progress. But they're not calling forward progress. But so the only thing replay can look at is if the runner was down, which he was not. The ball was ripped out. So this is going to have to be upheld.
I got to tell you
totally with Jerry.
If you're the playoff committee and the selection committee and you're watching this game, even if Utah wins, Utah right now is not earning a lot of style points with the committee. And you almost get the sense it was a long shot for an at-large berth to begin with. That may be out the window, win or lose. Obviously, if you lose, you're done.
After review, the ruling on the field of the fumble and recovery by the defense is upheld. First down, Kansas.
Yeah,
but the tighter this game stays, you just get the sense Utah's path is win, have Texas Tech lose to West Virginia, and then BYU and Arizona State win. That puts Utah in the Big 12 championship game. Then you've got a chance to play yourself in.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's a 5-6 team. If you're on the committee and you're looking at it, Utah, in their mind, Utah should be blasting Kansas right now, even with the game being on the road. But they are struggling. They trail right now, and Kansas has an opportunity to put more points on the board.
Williams goes wide. Quarterback draw. Daniels into the navel of that defense to the 40. Kark.
Massive play by Trey Lathan. I spoke to him this week. He said this Utah team got everyone's attention because of their physicality and the way that they slug it out. And he said, I have to play with a motor because every time I play, my mom Keita's watching. I can't get embarrassed. She's watching back in Miami with the team, and she has always had his back and pushed him to be great.
Flag down.
False start. Offense number 7. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
I mean, you can feel the post-Thanksgiving stupor just hanging over this game from the beginning. Both of these teams have had opportunities to extend a lead, maybe even build up a 2-score lead or more. And it's been plays like we just saw, right? A fumble, now a false start.
Can't have them. You're trying to go bowling. Everything needs to go right from here to the house.
Williams up the gut. It sets up a 3rd down.
You got two teams that are playing awfully hard. It's just a good matchup because Kansas can sort of match Utah's the front 7 of their defense with their offensive line and playmakers, especially at quarterback and running back. And then on the flip side, you got Utah's big offensive line. They've been sort of held in check a little bit today by this Kansas front 7.
And now remember, those guys do like to eat. Daniels threw it behind Canty. 4th down. Let's see how Lance Leipold plays this.
Boy, and if you're going to go for it on 4th down, I would have expected maybe a run on 3rd down to set up 4th and short, 4th and medium, but this is 4th and 7, which is considered long here for Kansas.
On the season, the Jayhawks 16 of 26 on 4th down. Analytics says you kick. Incomplete. Cotton may have gotten a piece of it. Intended for Canty.
Well, Canty's just kind of drifting up the field as opposed to flattening it off, and it allowed for the defender to get right underneath it. He's drifting up the field as opposed to flat. Defender makes one heck of a play.
Presented by Target. It's our first time in the new Memorial Stadium, the booth as they call it, and it's really a marvel here, which should change the Kansas football program for the better. Nate Johnson, the jack of all, gets the call on 1st down, picks up 15. And Andre, you got to wonder, how does Utah go to its bread and butter and just stay with the ground game here?
Yeah, I think so. You know, he comes in, he's averaging 9.5 yards a carry. So I think this is where Utah gets back to what they do best, where their bread is buttered, so to speak, and start running the football.
Parker goes wide. Dampier threw it a little behind, and it's incomplete for Larry Simmons. Utah missing 2 key pieces today. On offense, their top receiver Ryan Davis is out. On defense, one of the top pass rushers in the country, John Henry Daly, out.
They were a 61% pass, 39% run coming into this game. Seems like they're throwing it a little bit more than normal.
And now they're exactly 50-50. Oh. Parker gets popped by Lyric
Rawls. Hello. My goodness, what did he come up flying from the secondary? Well, you got to listen, just hear that. That'll wake you up.
And then he followed it with the Ali Liston stare down. Now we get a flag.
You give so much credit for this physical style of offense by Utah.
False start, offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Uncharacteristic mistakes by Utah, and again, short field. Now you're backed up even further. That's the center, Kump.
It's being brought to them by Kansas. The thump is being brought by Kansas in this exchange.
4-man rush. Dampier hit. Buchanan could not hang on. He was out of bounds.
That's a heck of a job of just hanging on to the ball. You know that turf is hard in the cold weather, and a good placement of this ball by Dampier to give his receiver a chance. And they might have to take a look at that. The elbow, maybe the right foot.
When does he have control? They haven't stopped play. Now they do.
Ruling on the field is incomplete pass. The previous play is under replay review.
Yeah, let's bring in Jerry McGinn. Jerry, it looked like a foot was down. I'm not sure he secured it when the foot was down, but then that left elbow may have been down inbounds as well.
You're right. So this is our kind of our first look at this. So the right foot is up in the air when he has control of the ball. Now the question is that elbow. That is very close. I think that elbow is down inbounds, and they're gonna possibly turn this back over to a completion. This is a good stop by replay.
I agree with you. Even in real time, it looked as though the elbow, when we saw the replay and it was going in real time, it seemed as though the left elbow gets down. Now, the right foot's on the ground. I agree with you, Jerry. It comes up, and then that left elbow, just enough of it inbounds.
So he's going to the ground. He has to complete the process of the catch. So as he rolls over, so the other question they have to look at is, does he hold on to it? Does he control that ball? Ooh, it seems like it comes loose there at the end. See how it just came loose a little bit, and then he lands out of bounds. So with that look right there, that's an incomplete pass.
So
he has it,
player in
but
me
it goes,
wants to award this so badly.
I know. It's a great effort, but he has the ball, but then as he's bringing it back to his body, he loses contact with the ball. He loses control of it. And that then makes it an incomplete pass. This is the great look right here. Now it's loose. And then he brings it in. So they're going to have to stay with the call on the field.
An incredible effort by Buchanan.
It makes you want to reward the effort
earlier. Yeah. And just another tight end that Utah's going to churn out. He's only a freshman. Dalton Kincaid is in the pros. Brant Keithley was a terrific tight end the last few years when healthy.
After review, the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass is upheld. Third down.
Wow.
It should be fourth down.
Correction, it'll be fourth down.
Orion Phillips, the Australian, to kick it away. Tate Nagy, freshman from Overland Park, Kansas, waits. And that sails out of bounds. They spot the ball at the 10-yard line. We remind you, Week 13 of the NFL begins with Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then the Monday night matchup this week. The scorching hot Patriots, winners of 9 straight. Drake May in the MVP candidacy, MVP race. Will take on the Giants. Jackson Dart expected back for
one of the best stories of the NFL in terms of the quickest turnarounds. I still don't understand what Tennessee, the Titans, were doing when they let Mike Vrabel go. Amazing.
It's not taking long as Highshaw gets the call on first down, picks up 4. In this game, you've got Kansas needing a win to become bowl eligible. Utah, number 13 in the college football playoff rankings, has to win to have any shot at the playoff. It's the second year of the 12-team format. Top 5 conference champions get an automatic bid, but the seedings are based on the rankings. That's another short game. Highshaw for a yard. It's third down. And something to remember, let's say you have a couple of conference champions outside of the top 12, which could happen this year with the Group of 5 champion and possibly the ACC champion. Well, that means the cutoff for the at-large is 10. So you need to be in the top 10 for an at-large spot. And Utah needs a lot of help to move into the at-large picture. It obviously starts with a win, but their best shot might be to go win the Big 12. Now they need help to get to the Big 12 championship. Needing a win today, and they need Texas Tech to lose and BYU and Arizona State to win this weekend. Henderson behind his man makes the catch.
They got Snowden that time, who had the interception in the first quarter, and it just kind of went over his head. And defensive backs, that is a frustrating place to be in. And Emmanuel Henderson Jr., where you're in position, but you see the ball coming, but you know you can't get there. He does a heck of a job of running to get to Henderson before he's able to get any more yards after the catch. But no, he couldn't make a play on it. It was a well-thrown ball from Jaylen Daniels.
Not a whole lot of room, no gain for Highshaw.
Gentlemen, when I spoke to Jaylen Daniels this week, he told me Utah wants to play a ton of man on the outside, so they need to challenge the perimeter. And these last two possessions, he's found Emmanuel Henderson, and his head coach, Lance Leipold, too, also said this is the most aggressive corners they'll see all season long, and Henderson can fly, and he's been Johnny on the spot this half.
Yeah, most of the passing yards have come down along the sideline.
Underneath, Levi Wentz, lots of room after the catch. The former Albany Great Dane picks up 22.
Nice job. They run everybody off. They run everybody off and then just bring the big fella underneath in Wentz, all 6'2", 205 of him. Once he's cleared out, he comes underneath on a little drag route. And boy, does he turn it into a big play.
Play clock is down to 5. Highshaw spun down at the 35.
He ran right into one of his own linemen. Did a number on him, but it just stopped Highshaw in his tracks. Still a respectable run on first down, especially crossing the 50, Anish, when all 4 downs in today's game and the way it's played are in play.
And especially for Kansas, they've got nothing to lose. They're playing for a spot in a bowl game. Williams on the fly sweep. Jigsaws to the 31, give him 4 more. It's 3rd and 3 as we come up on a minute to play in this 3rd quarter.
Still on schedule. They pick up 3 initially and then come back and pick up 4. And it gets you to 3rd and short. This is a nice job. They bring Garcia in as that 6th offensive lineman.
He might have 2 plays. Gorsica motions. Williams again. Running behind Gorsica on the left side for a Kansas first down.
Well, this is a play that Utah struggled with last week, trying to stop this. And it's just a little counter where you're going to counter here, you're going to block backside, and then kick out on the middle linebacker. And they do a heck of a job on the 2nd level, do a nice job of finding a crease. That is what they struggled with last week against Kansas State. And Kansas coming right back with that ideal play and a situation on 3rd and 3, big moment in the game where they had to have it.
They pick up a first. They don't need to call a play. And Kansas goes to the 4th quarter with the lead, looking to send Jaylen Daniels and this team out with a win on Senior Day.
told me the challenge today has been stopping the run. Kansas is owning the line of scrimmage, and he said they've been way more physical for us. The time is right now, gentlemen.
Well, last week we saw Utah rally from 16 down in the final 7 minutes. They scored the last 16 of the game in the last 7 minutes to beat K-State. Highshaw, what a run. Thunders, what a run. Churning. First and goal, Kansas. A gain of 14. It's another senior.
Boy, he has really matured, according to this coaching staff. And you start to see it in his play. When everything is right off the field, it's right on the field. And for Highshaw, that has been the case. My goodness, what an angry run the Jayhawk had on that play.
When he runs, options A, B, and C are violence. He gets it again. That time he's dropped for a loss. Cash Dillon, the talented redshirt freshman.
You talk about a bright future. He has got it. And they have all three of those defensive ends back next year. John Henry Daly has 2 more years. He's just a sophomore. Redshirt sophomore Dillon, the redshirt freshman. And Fano is a junior himself. The next levels comes to calling. That could change in a heartbeat.
It changes the math. 2 tight ends in the game. Daniels chased by Dillon. Toward the end zone, ill-advised, and it's picked off. Jackson Benny with his 4th interception. Jalen Daniels has been so good with the football this season at a 21-4 touchdown to interception ratio.
First down, Utah.
Entering the game, he's thrown 2 picks today, and that one took points off the board for Kansas.
Yes, it did, and points that they're going to need. Because I don't think Utah's finished yet. And he had a receiver, a tight end, sitting right in front of him. He could have dumped the ball to. He chose to try to throw it out of the back of the end zone and didn't get enough on it.
Meanwhile, Levani Damuni down for Utah. It's been a game of who wants it more and who's going to take it. Both teams keep giving the other opportunities.
Yep.
Neither seems to take advantage. Kansas intercepted in the end zone. Another stalled drive inside the Utah 30. Utes get it back. Dampier now. Pump fakes. Wants Buchanan. A lot of contact. And surprisingly, no
There's
flag.
one.
Now we get one.
Couldn't find it. He couldn't find it. So it's going to go to about the 35-yard line with his 15-yard penalty.
Devin Dye in coverage.
Pass interference, defense number 11. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And he's trying to find Buchanan, who decides he's running out of room, decides to turn it up, and he sees his quarterback in trouble. But yeah, that's definitely going to get the attention.
Wildcat snap to Parker, gives it to Dampier. He throws too high for Larry Simmons, 2nd and 10, and that looked disjointed right from the get-go.
Well, they were trying to set that up early. They brought Dampier, I think it may have been the 2nd quarter, where they brought him around in motion and just ran Wayshawn Parker. And here they come back, give it to Dampier. He's setting that play up for a while, kind of making it look like, he was just a pawn in this thing, and then all of a sudden he's going to throw it.
Here is Parker, flips to the 40-yard line. Lyric rolls, catapulted Wayshawn Parker, the Washington State transfer.
He's taking some shots in this game. Both he and Bentley, the big tight end. This shows you just how physical this game has been. And Lyric rolls again with a big tackle.
Big 3rd down. Parker in the flat makes the first man miss. Dangerous in space. Parker inside the 30 of Kansas to the 28, a pickup of 32.
Boy, big lower body. It's tough to tackle him. Just arm tackle him because he's so strong on his lower end. And you get him out in space, as you mentioned, it's just a nightmare for defenders.
Going quickly. Dampier takes a shot. Simmons, touchdown! Utah back on top.
I mean, quick. There's the change in tempo, and caught Kansas maybe sleeping a little bit. He gets behind Saeed Gibbs on that side, a transfer from Georgia Tech. They're just deep down the sideline, show it to Parker, and let it rip. Oh, and that turnover proving to be ever so. That's tough. You turn it over in the opponent's end zone, and then they go right back down the field to take the lead.
You're talking about a 14-point swing if the kick is good. Dylan Curtis puts it through. Utah 10 points today off of 2 Kansas turnovers. Larry Simmons, the tutty.
Football is presented by Target, where game day meets the holidays.
A happy Thanksgiving from our football family to yours. Hope you're enjoying those leftovers, getting some holiday shopping perhaps done. An Ashraf Entreware, Paul Carcaterra, Lawrence, Kansas. Nothing like football this time of the year, and Utah's got a little Thanksgiving tutty from Larry Simmons.
I want to know where they were golfing. Playing golf on Thanksgiving. It's just, you're going to just go ahead and go out no matter if it's cold or not.
Well, not around here.
No.
Game time temps were in the mid-30s.
My favorite part of this holiday is the Thanksgiving Day games that you played as a kid, and everybody's out playing football, either in a field somewhere or in the street.
They fake the toss. Out to about the 24. Today's proven performance is brought to you by Goodyear.
And it's got to be Parker and the way he's played in this one. 89 yards on the ground, a bunch more through the air, but he has just been one tough dude. And Dampier with just stroking pass after pass, helping in the running game as well. That big touchdown to Simmons, putting Utah back in front.
Kansas rips off the Band-Aid for a baker's dozen with Highshaw. He's up to 80 yards rushing.
We hadn't seen him in a while, and then all of a sudden the last 2 carries he's had have been angry runs against this Utah front seven.
Highshaw came to Kansas in 2020 with Jaylen Daniels. He's battled a ton of injuries, missed 4 games last year, had hip issues, which cost him almost 2 full seasons. Highshaw on the sweep, and he lowers the boom. Him and Jonathan Hall with a collision, a pickup of 7.
He is letting it happen. And I talked to Jim Zabrowski, their offensive coordinator, said, what's the perfect recipe for you today? It's to rush the ball for over 200, between 200 and 250 yards. They're at 235. The same in passing. They're at about 112. And the big plays, 6 to 10 big plays, they're at 10. That recipe, everything except the passing is worked out.
LaShawn Williams into the secondary and took Teo Johnson for a ride.
And add another big play in the running game to that total for Kansas, making it 11 explosive plays for this Jayhawk offense. Just out the left side of the formation, and then it's a foot race between he and Teo Johnson.
This Utah defense gave up 472 on the ground last week to K-State. Kansas up to 268. Two tight ends to the right. They keep it on the ground. It's Williams on the Iowa transfer inside the 20. This has now been the challenge part of the field for Kansas. They've been able to drive the ball. They just have had issues finishing drives. Down here, they've had 2 interceptions and a missed field goal.
It hadn't just been this game. They have not scored in the fourth quarter in 5 of the last 6 games. So this is where they need to punch one in if they're going to get back in, take the lead here, or at the very least kick a field goal and tie this thing up.
In the past 7 games, they've been outscored 56-7 in the fourth quarter. Highshaw breaks free. Benny brings him down from the backside, but it's a 1st and goal from the 7.
Well, he is running with some anger, and I love every bit of it. Just a violent runner, will not be denied, and trying to will his team back into the lead here.
Highshaw.
I don't go anywhere else, Anish. I go right back to the belly of Daniel Highshaw Jr.
He's got 99 yards rushing. Williams has 97. They feed Highshaw into that Utah phalanx for a couple.
I'd like to see him maybe give him a zone run where he can start outside towards the tackle and then give him an alley where he can break one back inside or continue on his current path. But just a couple of different options for him in the running game because he's got the hot hand right now.
They bring in an extra big body, 54, Tavake Tuikolovatu. He motions to the right side. 3 tight ends lined up that way. Try to run it up the middle.
That's one that Jalen Daniels should have kept.
Aliki Vamahi blew that play up, 3rd and goal.
Well, right here, you get everybody going down inside, freeze it, and then get Jalen Daniels on the outside. He walks in. If he just pulls that out of the belly of Highshaw, he's going to walk into the end zone, or at the very least, outrace a defensive player to the pylon.
Was he reading the wrong player?
I think he read the wrong one there, for sure.
Deshaun Williams in the game. Daniels, quick throw, picked off. Pickett wasn't looking. Elijah Davis across midfield. He's got blockers. Davis cuts it across the length of the field for a pick 6. His 2nd pick 6 of the year.
Why Cam Pickett is not looking for this football is beyond me. And we call them rub-robs if you're the offense. If you're a defensive player, it's a pick. 2 guys outside of you are starting down inside, and he's got the flat route. They bring him in motion, and they're going there right away. You see the 2 outside guys coming in on a pick, and he's going outside of them on a rub. You're just trying to get it in his hands as quickly as you can. I'm not sure it's Jalen Daniels' fault because that's where Pickett should have been looking for the ball. But, man, it is beyond me why he couldn't turn his head to look for the football.
Catch your breath, Elijah Davis, a 96-yard interception return. And the Lane Kiffin drama has turned into a game of guess who now. Florida we have put down.
Maybe it's
Florida.
Penn State. we're all thinking, it was Florida. No, it's LSU. Maybe it's Penn State.
If it was anybody else but Lane Kiffin, you might think that there's a decision. I'm not so sure this is all a smoke screen and maybe a little bit of a show pony dance. And we get a flag on the back end.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 41. 10-yard penalty. First down, Kansas.
Kansas today has had 4 trips inside the Utah 25 where they've produced 0 points.
Yeah, and it started with a Snowden interception. The nice pass breakup by Teo Johnson coming from inside out. The missed field goal attempt. And in here, Jalen just not throwing it out of bounds enough. There he goes, it's up in the hands of Benny. And then there, Elijah Davis making him pay in the worst way with a pick 6.
So Jaylen Daniels, who threw 4 interceptions all season entering play, has thrown 3 today. On the ground, on first down inside the Kansas 10 for a gain of 4. Kark.
Well, after that last pick 6 by Jaylen Daniels, the Kansas sideline completely deflated, lifeless. It's like all their energy, you felt it was ready to pop, and then you could hear a pin drop. And it's not just the 4 trips to the red zone scoreless. Their fourth quarter woes, 42 points the entire season for Kansas, averaged less than 4 points per game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the wheels have fallen off late. Highshaw, north of 100 yards. And if you're Utah, Andre, go figure. Last week, Utah gave up 470 plus on the ground and won. Kansas today is on the verge of 300 rushing yards, and Utah's leading with a double-digit lead.
Yeah, leading by 10. It's amazing. And I could see what Kark's reporting on along the sideline. When you think you're going to get back in it or you get about to take the lead, and that happens, man, that's tough to overcome.
A check down off the hands of Williams. Approaching quickly was Smith Snowden.
And he could hear footsteps with Smith Snowden tracking him pretty quickly.
I mean, you could feel it in the building. Just the air has come out.
Oh, yeah. And there are a lot of fans standing and paying close attention to this possession by Kansas.
Williams swallowed up after a short gain, third down.
A lot of pressure here, and I got to imagine you're trying to get half of this so you can go for it. Maybe on fourth down, you may not get it back if you punt it over to Utah.
Daniels 8 for 23 picks. Finds Pickett. He's run out of bounds. He's going to be short by about 3 or 4 yards.
It's decision time now for Coach Leipold.
Oh, wait, flag first.
Illegal substitution, defense, 12 players on the field. 5-yard penalty, replay third down.
So 3rd and 9 after the penalty becomes 3rd and 4. Kansas 6 of 12 on 3rd down today.
You got to score as quickly as you can if you're Kansas. So that's why I'm saying they got to bust out of just running it and start to throw it a little bit.
Utah brings the house. Henderson makes the catch in stride. First down, Kansas. He beat Blake Cotton. That's the speed.
Only thing there I'd like to see is Henderson really fight harder to stay in bounds. He just kind of gave way to the sideline, but nice job. It's man across the board with a 0 blitz, and what a dime Jaylen Daniels throws there.
Well, here we go inside the Utah 25 again, off the hand of Pickett.
Seems like they've lived down on this part of the field, or Utah's part of the field here for most of the game, but you just can't cash in.
The writing is beautiful. There's no punctuation. They can move the ball up and down the field. They just have not been able to finish drives today. 35 plays, now 36. Run at Utah territory, that one to the end zone. Overthrown for Pickett, Snowden in coverage. And now the boos start to rain down a little harder. Now listen, Jaylen Daniels has had a tough game, 9 of 23, 3 picks. I don't think it detracts from the career he's had at Kansas.
No, not at all.
And what he's done for this program. Down the seam, caught by Cure for a touchdown.
What a shot, 5.5 left. 3 timeouts, and down only by, they're able to knock this extra point through, only down by 3, but nice job of touching this over the top of the linebacker, Lander Barton, into the hands of his tight end.
Extra point by Marjan is good. Kansas back to within 3. Utah with the ball, 5:32 to go. Now the Utes this season, they've played so many blowout games. 8 of their 9 wins have been over by this juncture. They've blown teams out. Really, they're only close games. You count their 2 losses, and then last week against Kansas State. They have to win to have any shot at a Big 12 championship game appearance or a college football playoff appearance. And Kyle Whittingham said, we're aware of the scenarios and we understand we need a lot of chaos. His message to his team, if you don't win today, the worst case scenario is good things happen, but you don't take care of business.
Well, they're still a ways away from the finish line with Kansas, and we talked about them needing to score quickly. They were able to do that. Now they need a stop. They can play this the conventional way, which is just to get a stop, and they still got the 3 timeouts they could save for the offense that they're able to get the stop here.
And they've got the 2-minute timeout. Ray will run this out. And tripped up at the 15, and there's an injured player. Bryce Duke a little shaken up. AT&T keeping you connected with our bracket insights. So it appears Utah's best shot at the college football playoff is to win the Big 12. First, they have to get to the Big 12 championship game. To do that, win today. Texas Tech has to lose in Morgantown, and then you need BYU and Arizona State to win.
That's not as crazy as you think. Going to Morgantown to win, that's tough.
Sign up now at ESPN.com. Fill out your own CFP bracket presented by AT&T.
This is going to be a flag on Utah.
False start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
9 penalties now on Utah. That is the left guard, Tanoa Togiai.
We'll talk about a big offensive line. Every one of them, all 5 are 6'6", except Michael Mokafisi.
They call it the Wasatch Front after the mountain range. Dampier has a lead blocker who paves the way, and Dampier picks up a first down, a gain of 17. Caleb Lomu, the left tackle.
Boy, it's the fake on the speed sweep that gets Kansas out of position, and then he's got a lineman out in front of him blocking. Lomu, who kind of leads him to the first down marker, and I'll tell you what, showing some experience. Dampier stays in bounds, does not go out of bounds, stays in. The clock's still running. Play clock down around 10 right now, and I would imagine they're not going to snap it until it's down under 5 seconds.
Lomu and the right tackle, Fano, both projected first-round picks. Here comes Parker. Across the 30 to the 31 on the Wildcat, a gain of 5. Wayshawn Parker wears those hot pink shoes, and there's a reason for that. Started wearing them in October, breast cancer awareness, but also his niece liked them so much because she could spot him on the field. And once October lapsed into November, everyone else went to their normal shoes, and Parker and Whittingham had a deal. If Parker runs for 100 yards, you can keep wearing the shoes. Well, he's run for 100 plus in 4 straight, about to make it 5.
Love it.
Dampier gets the edge. Parker block, and Dampier stays in bounds, picks up a first down.
What a block that Parker throws on Taylor Davis, and you can just listen to hear the contact. Number one, once he sees his quarterback in trouble, what a block. Amazing.
That's the type of play that speaks to the identity of Utah football.
Yes, indeed. Unselfish, everybody taking care of the next man, and especially if you have a chance to free a guy for a big play with a block like Parker did there for Dampier.
Parker is in the Wildcat with Simmons in motion. Parker dropped the football, picks it up, and catapults forward to about the 38.
Anish, you were talking about Parker and the pink shoes. He was on the bike earlier, and I pointed over to those shoes. He gave me the biggest smile and the thumbs up. But his emergence this season behind the Wasatch front has been massive. You look at Dampier coming in from New Mexico, and then the emergence of Parker. He's shown you his violence as a blocker, too. When you talk to people around the program, it's not just running the ball. He likes to get down and dirty. Pink shoes or not.
Midway through the season, he took over as the clear number 1 back.
He's the feature back now.
Buchanan comes in motion. Dampier fakes to Buchanan, running behind that great offensive line, and it's another first down. One of the subplots for the first 3 quarters in this game was how well Kansas held up against this Utah offensive line. Well, it's the 4th quarter now, and that challenge is significantly harder.
Yeah, it looks like Kamara is the player down for Kansas. Bengali Kamara, one of their linebackers. I tell you what, at some point here,
first charge timeout.
Kansas,
Kansas.
They're going to have to start taking timeouts, and maybe if there's another play before the 2-minute timeout, they take another one and let the 2-minute timeout stop it again. But eventually, they're going to need a stop, and they haven't been able to do it to this Utah running game on this possession.
Yeah, Kansas, well, they've got their 2 timeouts and the 2-minute timeout. Utah knows if they pick up a first down here, the game is pretty much over.
They have averaged 7 yards a carry in the 4th quarter. Running the football. 6 carries for 42 yards.
Utah this season, we have seen them put together long, time-consuming drives. They had a 20-play drive that took up 9:44 at UCLA. Dampier keeps it, escapes, and turns that into positive yardage. Timeout Kansas, 2:28 on the clock, 2nd down. Utah had a 19-play drive of almost 7.5 minutes in the Wyoming game, as Alex Bray is down. Bray, a transfer out of Illinois. 6'4" junior, Chesterfield, Missouri.
Played a bevy of defensive linemen today. About 10 or 11, my count's right, have gotten into the ball game for Kansas.
Bray limps off. We remind you at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Clean, old-fashioned hate. Georgia meeting Georgia Tech last year. That was an 8 overtime affair. And then Texas A&M with a win against Texas. The Aggies punch a ticket to the SEC championship game. What a season. We had Texas A&M all the way back in week 1, and they talked about their great offensive line and Marcel Reed, and then the receivers, guys like Craver and Concepcion, have added just another element to that dynamic offense.
Playmakers around Marcel Reed. He had a pretty good running game to complement him as well.
The fake to Parker. Dampier gets out of an ambush, picks up a couple more. It's going to bring up 3rd down. Kansas uses its final timeout. They still have the 2-minute timeout. All right, if you're Utah here, Andre, do you put the ball in the air, or are you approaching this maybe as 4-down territory, knowing that a 1st down wins the game?
If I put it in the air, it's going to be something quick, something with Dampier on the move where he has an option to throw or run it, and it's going to be a safe pass. It's not something where I'm dropping back trying to push it down the field and bringing maybe a turnover into play. But I don't know that I'm going to put it in the air. I'm going to keep it on the ground and give it to Parker maybe, or Dampier on an RPO at best.
Utah looking to keep its postseason hopes alive. Kansas hoping to get the ball back. The Jayhawks need a win to become bowl eligible for the 3rd time in 4 seasons.
Here we go.
Parker comes in motion. Dampier looks to throw. He's got a man wide open. Caught by Simmons. Touchdown! Utah went for the haymaker.
Oh, wow. And it was the play fake. Dampier sold it as if he was going to pull it down and run. The secondary and 3rd-level players of Kansas, they got fooled by the eye candy and just were flat-footed, and it allowed the receiver to get right behind him, Larry Simmons, for a touchdown. 2nd one of the day for Larry Simmons.
3 catches, 97 yards. A career high in receiving yards for Simmons. And Utah with a 2-score lead with 2:14 to go, and Kansas out of timeouts.
Watch the action here, 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 and here. Everybody's going to get fooled. All of a sudden, he is into this space and wide open. They all take a step up. That gives the 3rd level to Larry Simmons, free and clear, and that ball that Dampier just dropped in there, man, that would go into any bucket anywhere. What a throw.
That tells you the faith they have in the New Mexico transfer,
a lot of trust.
Dampier. And it also tells you the mentality. They were going for the win. They felt they had a chance to win the game. Kansas bit on that little fake, and Simmons got open. 3 touchdown passes today for Dampier.
3 touchdown passes for him, 3 interceptions for Daniels. That's the quarterback comparison in a nutshell, and that is why Utah, they hold on here with 2:14 left, will continue to play, and Kansas's season may come to a screeching halt.
It wasn't just the 3 interceptions by Daniels, where they were thrown.
That's
all 3
exactly right.
Were thrown deep in Utah territory. 1 returned for a pick 6. Let's check in with Kevin. Meanwhile, last hope for Kansas here, incomplete by Daniels. Looks like if it is Lane Kiffin's last game with Ole Miss, that's a Fabergé in the Egg Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt. I just know this. You know, if I'm ready to hear where he's going, I know the players on that team, they're probably tired of answering questions this week, and they want to know, who's going to lead the program going forward. What do they do in the absence of Lane Kiffin if he decides to leave?
Daniels too high. It's 3rd down and 10. Tough game for Jalen Daniels. 10 for 26. A touchdown, 3 picks. He also ran for a score.
It has been tough.
A young man who, going into last week, had only thrown 3 interceptions all season. And he threw one last week in the loss to Iowa State. He has thrown 3 today. A player his head coach called transformational for this program.
You just hate to see it happen in his last game as a Jayhawk.
That was a strike, went off the hands of Pickett. It's 4th down. It brings us to the 2-minute timeout. We'll step aside with Utah up by 10. And Ashraf Andre Ware, Paul Carcaterra. Game day comes to you live Saturday morning from Michigan. The Wolverines with some momentum against undefeated Ohio State. The Buckeyes, the defending national champions. I tell you what, if Michigan wins, all of a sudden all the playoff bubble teams get a little nervous.
It gets crazy, doesn't it?
4th down and 10 here for Kansas. Last hope. Daniels in trouble. He's taken down, and Utah gets the ball back. Jonathan Hall with the sack to seal it for the Utes.
Just a tough afternoon for Jalen Daniels. Sack on his last play of his collegiate career, and it was just a tough afternoon for him in terms of the turnovers, the 3 interceptions, not willing his team into a bowl game, which I know that's what he wanted to do, play one more.
He gets consoled on the sideline, but his contributions to this program, changing the image of what Kansas was and what it is now. They play in a brand new stadium that's going to get even more upgrades in the offseason. They've got a head coach in Lance Leipold who's brought respectability. And I go back to what Lance Leipold told us. He said a guy like Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, who was here last year, now with the New Orleans Saints, a great running back. He said those guys should be a part of this university for a long time.
I think as long as he's
guys,
here.
They're not transfers, and they stayed and they watched the rebuild, and they were part of some really special years and some special games.
As long as Coach Leipold is here, those players will have a place here at Kansas, and hopefully they'll stay around. And there's a lot of support for Jalen Daniels along that sideline right now.
Following our game, North Texas takes on Temple. If the Mean Green and Drew Mestemaker win, they will play in the American Conference Championship game. Mestemaker is an incredible story. He never started a game in high school as a varsity quarterback, and UNT looking for its first 11-win season in program history, and obviously a trip to the American Conference Championship game. For Utah, they get a hard-fought win here on the road in Lawrence. They keep their playoff hopes alive, and now they get to watch, and they're rooting for chaos. They need West Virginia to beat Texas Tech. They need rival BYU to win, and they need Arizona State to win. That cocktail would put Utah in the Big 12 championship game.
A lot of football left to be played, and it's going to come down to a lot. I still think their best chance, because of so much chaos has to happen, is them finding their way into the Big 12 championship game and earning their way in that way.
Yeah, they're going to be rooting for the Mountaineers of West Virginia when they take on Texas Tech, which has been the best team in the Big 12 all season. 21 points in the fourth quarter. The Utes knock off the Jayhawks.